Okay, I'm going to try giving call to Mr. Graeme Kenna. Let's see what's happening.
This is the voicemail of Graeme Kenna from the Legal Department for Adult Services in Bradford Council. Please leave a message and I will get back to you.
After you've finished your message, just hang up. Or to hear more options, please press 1.
Oh, hello, Mr. Kenna. It's Mr. Hussein here, brother of Talib Hussein. I'm sure you recognize my voice, and I'm ringing up today to find out what you've done with my brother. It's been now 64 days since you last, since I last saw my brother. After you had instructed the police to come and arrest me from my home and take my brother into your custody and care. And to instruct the police to put bail conditions where I can't see him anymore. I have subsequently learned through the collusion between the housing association and yourself that you are now of the opinion that I'm never going to see my brother again, and he's not going to come back into my care, and hence why you are now instigating actions through the housing association to the courts that you control by the judges that you privately commissioned out to make me homeless once again. I'm ringing you up today because, Mr. Kenna, it's now been 64 days. You're a solicitor for the local authority and you fully know the fact that what you've done is unlawful. There is no legal basis upon which you can come and abduct somebody in broad daylight with the police and saying we're acting in my brother's best interest and take him into your care and custody. You know this is unlawful. You must know the fact that you cannot do this. My brother has capacity just like my mother had capacity, and that was a complete disaster, wasn't it? You had my mother for 334 days, out of which then you tortured her and killed her off. Just as you had previously done, and I know and just to quantify the word, when I say you, as you can appreciate, you're not a singular, you're part of a corporation, which is the local authority, which is extended beyond to include other various organizations such as the National Health Service, Care Trust, the Police Service, the GP practices. So when I say the word you, I effectively mean adult social care, adult care, safeguarding board, which seems to be this nexus of a conglomerate coalition, all looking to work collectively in order to target and victimize me and my family. This is an ongoing matter, isn't it? It's been ongoing for over a decade or two now. Simply because you cannot manage to do your jobs properly in the adult social care sector, which you're particularly a solicitor for, and in order to circumvent this or sidestep your duties of care, what you choose to do is you choose to get other people such as myself to do the job for you, and then manipulate the situation by buying off the judges and the courts to ensure that the money that you're receiving from the taxpayer is justified. You have failing in adult social care. The social care sector is falling apart. I've made provisions for my brother. I've made provisions for my family through the trust fund that I've now been operating under for the last 23 years. And it's just incumbent upon yourselves to now liaise with me, because you're going to end up murdering my brother Talib, as you've murdered my mother and my brother and my father previously. You cannot care for my brother. You cannot meet. You may be able to meet his physical needs, but you cannot meet his psychological needs. You cannot meet his religious needs. You cannot meet his emotional needs. You cannot meet his. You're not basically his family. All right, and I know you attempted in the past to take court proceedings in September and October and November 2018, when at the time you had my brother last time in your care and custody. And you had failed to remove me as the nearest relative then, in favour of Bev Mabry as the Health and Wellbeing Director. Well, where is Bev Mabry today? She's not around, is she? She's retired. I'm never retiring from my brother's life unless you kill him off or force me out like you did in my mother's case, which has serious legal consequences and financial consequences. Now, the last time you had kept my brother, and once again, the collective you, the last time you had abducted my brother was on the 3rd of August from our home in 2018. and released him back and fully discharged him into my care on the 30th of January 2019. You had my brother for a total of 180 days. In that 180 days, you were not able to positively establish that my brother lacks mental capacity. And subsequently, my brother's been in my care now for 46 months. Subsequently, and you've not provided any resources. You've not given him access to his own benefit money. You've not given any social care funds to him, any resources. He's been fully reliant upon myself. And now 45 months later, 46 months later, you're making the claims through the police that I was neglecting him. It was not me that was neglecting him. It was quite clearly and evidently the fact that you had been neglecting him in the community, knowing the fact that he's in a Section 117 aftercare under the Mental Health Act. Now, what you wanted was, what you anticipated was, what you hoped was that I would end up killing or murdering him, and then you could then justify your subsequent actions of looking to target and victimize and persecute and vilify me. That did not happen. All you've got so far is a dirty house, and the house is dirty because I do not know where we are with this tenancy or with our own security of accommodation, because you, the local authority, are working with the housing association and the courts and the judges, in fact, in order to destabilize the family environment. This is your problem. To lay the blame upon me is, asinine. I am not going to be your I'm not here to I'm not here to be laid blame upon. This was your failures, and it's always been your systemic failures. The fact that my brother was originally released into my care in 2005, when you had set up a direct payment and then failed to audit it annually, that was your fault, not my fault. But then what happened is that you all collectively put me into prison for mismanaging direct payments that you were failing to audit. So it's always the case that when you fail, when you mess up, when you are incompetent and malevolent and negligent, you then lay the blame upon myself under the authority you have as a local authority and make me this easy scapegoat. I'm not here to be your easy scapegoat. Now, once again, it's been 64 days that my brother has been held by you. And as I've explained, the consequences of this are now, as I've explained to you previously, that it's £1 million a day. Now, once again, you may choose to scoff at that, but look at what you've done. You've come down and abused and weaponized the police force in order to abduct my brother. All I'm asking you, come on, let's talk. And you're refusing to engage with me on the telephone. Why? Why is that? Oh, Mr. Hussain, I don't consent to you recording. You cannot. I'm not asking for your consent. I, under the Human Rights Act, Article 12, freedom of expression, have a right to engage in the manner that I see fit to the state or the public authorities. You're meant to be public.
You're approaching the maximum allowed time for recording a message. If you wish to record further, please choose the append option from the menu. If you've finished recording, just hang up. If you don't carry on recording or hang up, your message will be deleted. To listen to your message, press 1. To re-record your message, press 2. To continue recording your message, press 3. If you are, please record the rest of your message after the tone. When you've finished recording, press the hash key.
Okay, Mr. Kenna, I need to wrap this up because there's already a limited amount of time on your voice message that I can leave these messages. Today is the 11th of October 2023. It's been 64 days since we've last seen our brother. I'm making you aware that there are costs accumulating. The last time you had my brother in your unlawful care and custody for the 180 days that he was at Linfield Mount Hospital, that cost that NHS £52,000, 182 days, and there's £1 million a week that I'm charging for your unlawful activity now. I urge you to engage with me and let me know where my brother is, and he's obviously going to end up dying in your care, just like you killed my mother off in your care, and just as you previously murdered my brother in the state's care. Nobody ever died in my care. Nobody ever got hurt in my care. I provide 24-hour care.
Sorry, but you've reached the maximum time available for recording your message. To listen to your message, press 1. To re-record your message, press 2. If you're happy with your message, press 4. To specify a number,
4.
Message sent. Goodbye.
Okay, so Yeah, they spent £52,000 when my brother was last in there, held by the council or the NHS trust, under the guise that they were acting my brother's best interest. When I myself had raised a safeguarding alert, I had raised a safeguarding alert that as a result of Adalat becoming appointed his deputy and not engaging and neglecting him, he's now struggling financially. He was struggling then. I made a video. I made the council aware. I made the Office of the Public Guardian aware. And as a result of me raising the safeguarding alert, they all once again to closed ranks upon me and abducted my brother, and then was saying that my brother does not want to see me anymore, and then subsequently pursued litigation action to have me removed as nearest relative. And now all of a sudden, so when they're neglectful, they all close ranks and say, now we agree with each other that this is the version of reality and narrative that we are now holding on to, whether it's the truth or not. Now subsequently, now all these years later, 4 or 5 years later, I'm put in the exact same situation. They've not been able to positively identify that my brother lacks mental capacity, despite their numerous efforts going back all the way to February 2017, when His Honor Judge Saville had stated that my brother's a mental capacity should be carried out in order to establish that my brother lacks mental capacity, so he could become so Adalat could become an intervener in the Poker case. So this has always been ordered or directed by originally in February 2017 by Judge Saville, and then subsequently the Adalat and the council and the solicitor Rodney Noon have conspired with TFS to railroad through that my brother lacks mental capacity. That capacity assessment was underrided several months later when I was forced to get a capacity assessment for my brother, and it turned out to be from the exact same people, which then negates any kind of argument that they've made. As it stands today, there is no independent party that has established that my brother lacks mental capacity, despite their desperate attempts previously when they have taken my brother. They had taken my brother on the 8th of August 2018, and then got Sanjeev Singh, which is a council employee, to say that he lacks mental capacity and therefore he cannot discharge himself, and they instigated court proceedings then as a result of having abducted him. Then whilst they had him in their care and custody in October 2018, they got my brother to forcibly sign over his appointeeship, which obviously Adalat had at the time and was not relinquishing. I don't know how they got my brother Adalat to sign over the appointeeship, but the council got my brother's appointeeship in October 2018, and then by November 2018, I got my brother positively establishing that he does have mental capacity. And this is what's been the ongoing theme here. They're trying to forcibly take the fact that my brother lacks mental capacity, and for 180 days they were failing to establish this. Then it's all just fraud and corruption after that, buying off the judges, doctoring court orders that are previously put in place by Judge Hesford on the 2nd of January 2018, then buying off the Court of Protection judges in London, District Judge Beckley, obviously the most villainous judge ever, who's obviously been involved in my mother's case, was now involved in my brother's case. They are desperately trying to establish that my brother lacks mental capacity to justify the 2016 criminal conviction against me. My brother does not lack mental capacity. The criminal conviction is going to fail inevitably, and all they're really doing is just continuing to persecute, hound, and victimize me and my family. There is no laws. This is a solicitor, a local authority, who's refusing to engage with me because he knows that I'm recording these calls, and I have a right to record these calls. I have human rights. They are working as employees, and ultimately what they want to do is they want to twist and turn the laws so their human rights and privacy are protected, while me and my family's human rights for privacy and dignity are simply kicked out the window and have no value and disregarded. So they they want to stay in their position of power and authority over me and my family, and in order to establish this, they manipulate and twist the laws. And if they don't get what they want, they just buy off they use public money, our ratepayer and taxpayer money, under the guise that they're there looking to provide social care, which they're failing to do. And what they do with that money is they just siphon it all off themselves, go for working from abroad, working from home, going for parties, using that money for their own benefit rather than the vulnerable people that they have a duty of care to. And then in order to cover all this up, they use public money to have a quid pro quo relationships with the judges and the court justices in order to ensure that the public remains ignorant of the fact that they are committing malevolent systemic fraud and corruption, and to exploit the vulnerable and the disenfranchised, such as my brother and such as myself. And they're doing it all under the guise of, no, we're acting benevolently, and they're clearly not. They've kidnapped my brother. It's been 64 days. All I'm asking is ring me back as his nearest relative, as his family member, as his carer, as somebody who was providing him with 24-hour care 7 days a week, which you have released him into my care when you last had him in your authority since January 2019, 46 months later. And you've kidnapped him again. We have certain inalienable human rights, that particularly for health and well-being and for our dignity. How is this in my brother's health and well-being? They're causing the problems and then providing the solutions to problems that they created, and they're expecting me to be grateful to them. You created the problems, and you want me to be grateful for the inadequate solutions that you provide. You want to keep your control and dominance over us, while putting us under tyrannical control, and expect me to be grateful. We do better without you. We don't need you. You are interfering unnecessarily in me and my brother's life and me and my family's life. You can't do your jobs. All you're required to do is give us the money that you've collected from the government, and you're refusing to do so. You want to give that money yourself. You're a bunch of greedy, imbecilic morons that can't do your jobs properly, and you want to keep the money because that has utility for you. That you could use that for yourself, and if you can't use it directly for yourself, you can use it to pay off your friends and colleagues and associates. So you can say that we're not keeping the money, we're paying for services, and we're all doing it in your best interest. You cannot do one single thing without our informed consent, and we've not consented to any of this stuff. My brother, having capacity, has not consented to any of this stuff. You are only doing this because if there's no consent, then it's a rape. You're raping us because you're not getting our consent. We've not agreed to this. We've not given you permission to do this. And yet you say that when I'm recording you without your consent, that is a violation, and I need to go to jail for that. And you've gone to the Court of Protection, High Court judges, and got orders in place that if I ring you, I can't even ring you up every day. I can't even write to you more than a single email onto a particular email address. Otherwise, it'll be contempt of court. No, what is contempt of court is the perversion that you've put in by buying off the judges, and now, to my surprise, buying off High Court judges in the Court of London, in the High Court. You bought everybody off in order to achieve your narrative, and so you can have this vexatious complainant policy and force me to abide by a policy that violates me and my family's privacy and human rights and dignities. And you put a policy in place, it's not even a law, and then you've gone to the High Court in order to ratify it, or ending my mother's life. And now nobody wants to give me an answer. Where is my mother's inquest? Right? You've then looked to recruit my malevolent, nefarious sister Shaida Adalat in order to just continue to cover up your own failures. Here I am saying that you have failed monumentally, and all you've done is come to the house and made some lies up that I've tried to kill my brother, and that's why you've come and abducted him, when the reality is that your case, in the concurrent case being spearheaded by the Housing Association, was clearly failing. And therefore, in order to achieve your objectives, you bought off District Judge Wilcox, you bought off District Judge Mitchell, you bought off the High Court, his Judge Grosnell. You bought off all these judges, as you always do, in order to sustain your fraud. And it's unsustainable, because fraud is unsustainable, your lies are unsustainable, and the truth, inshallah, will come out, and the whole world will get to see what you're really like. City of culture, Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. More like city of greedy, hungry vultures. I'll leave that with you, Mr. Kenna. You've got my voice message. You can no doubt listen to this online. Or I'm going to continue to leave your message every day. It's 64 days that you've holding my brother captive in your unlawful care and custody without any regards to any laws that you purport to be working under. Absolutely ridiculous and horrendous that you placed us into this situation where me and my family, my sister, are worried sick about my brother. We have no idea where he is. For 64 days, you could have tortured him, murdered him, violated all his rights. He has no legal You provide us with no legal framework of how you can hold him and detain him like this. And you continue to ignore my calls. You continue to refuse to engage with me. And you believe that you won because you bought off the judges. You